Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. They'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Let's check out what we're dealing with today on the 2nd of October. Our sun sign is the same, Libra, an air sign, and our moon sign is Virgo, an earth sign. So we have air and earth. Air, words, action. Virgo, earth, practicality. One of them moves, one of them doesn't. The air moves, the earth is still. These two things work together nicely, and they have a nice, makes very good when the words and the actions come down, practicality to create something. Otherwise, the wind can be very strong, and it can blow the earth all over the place and cause a big problem, hurricanes, things of this nature. So we want to learn to work together with these two energies, learning to bring practically the practicality of what we want in life. We want to be able to know what it is, so when we bring it down, we use the words and actions to create what we want and not to create the things we don't want. And there aren't anything as far as any triangles or squares as we move on. This one already passed or is going through. This is Virgo with Pluto, which is a transformative aspect. So there's some good aspects and opportunities to really take a look at what is the thing that stirs us inside, and analyze what's going on for that deeper transformation that's available for all of us. The moon phase right here is 6% full. We're just about to the new moon. Mayan Oracle, we're at an 11-tone day called the spectral tones. On those days, the kin and the guide is the same. So today we have the human, so it's the 11 human, or the spectral human guided by the human. Still on the wave spell of the wind right here. The phrase for today is I dissolve in order to influence, releasing wisdom. I seal the process of free will with the spectral tone of liberation. I am guided by my own power doubled. Alright, moving from there to space weather. The solar wind is picked up. It's 560.2 kilometers per second. We're in the midst of a storm between a 3 and a 6 at the moment. A little coronal hole here, or a sliver opening up, but what I say is a sliver here, well, that's much, much bigger than the Earth, so all in comparison, right? And we go down here to see what our flare possibility is. Alright, we've gone up to 10% chance for an M-class flare. X-class is still 1, and geomagnetic storm activity is way up there, 65% severe in the high latitudes. Mid-latitudes, we got 45%. So all this because we are getting hit by something at the moment. It goes on to tell us that a CME impact arriving a little earlier than expected. A CME hit Earth's magnetic field on the 2nd at approximately 200 universal time. The impact sparked a G2 class geomagnetic storm with auroras across Canada and several northern tier US states. Alright, so that's why you want to have your camera available, because you can get some cool shots like this during these times. Here's the report by suspicious observers for today. Alright, here we go.
Good morning, folks. Shutdown, schmutdown. Essential operations continue like the NDBC and tsunami monitoring. Had a minor deviation not far from my favorite buoy. Many NOAA sites are shut down, but there are way more up than I expected. Weather.gov and a number of the NOAA tools are available, along with the official Stormwatch predictions, or Snowwatch out west. They've beaten the Weather Channel's naming of winter storms to the punch. The wind map is still showing that convergence at the leading edge of that now weakening low that crested and caused major storms out west. Got another big one out to sea, and we've got tropical development here in the Gulf and Caribbean. Most powerful storm on Earth right now is heading right at the Korean Peninsula. By the end of the week it'll slip in past Japan and China and make himself right at home. Since that high pressure moved on, storms in southeastern Australia have been a bit of a nightmare. It's luckily heading on now, and hopefully the next high gives you guys a break. RSOE actually took off a third extreme weather event from yesterday. Primary Euro low, regulating the storms here all the way from Portugal up past Ireland, dumping the rain. Front will carry the storm, so watch the pressure. Had yet another gamma burst last night from celestial north axis and Ursa Minor. Solar wind from last night's news video, showing the 3-day plot with the predicted rise in speed signaling the arrival of the coronal hole stream. A weak one, only around 400 kilometers per second. This morning we see readings over 700 kilometers per second, with density nudging 100 protons per cubic centimeter. That's a serious CME impact, an interplanetary shock, a day before the experts expected it. The filament left the sun a tad over 2 days before impact, half a day faster, and that might have been something that could have caused damage. As it is, we are left with a G2 magnetic storm and the aurora photographs across the planet, which are astounding, including many from places in the United States, so if it's still dark where you are, take a chance. Also a bit of good news, as the radiation storm is almost over, appears to be fading. Earth is now sharing a magnetic connection to our star with Venus, who looks amazing in the sunset sky, by the way. Central Southern Developer had gained good umbral size, but is still lacking all but the most minor magnetic complexing. There are 2 big guys coming in from the eastern limb. They'll merit classification in the next day or so. Flaring has been quiet. The Earth-facing corona hole is slightly stronger this morning. Kinda tough to see, but it's there. Next corona hole is that dark area on the left turning this way. Now the quake factors are only moderate right now, but the top 3 quakes of the day are noteworthy as foreshock precursors. Galapagos often signal an uptick to come in South or Central America. We've seen polar rumbles precede global upticks, and the Owen fracture zone, not normally an area of focus, but the slightest of warnings here preceded that deadly Pakistan quake, which popped up an island, and the same fracture zone began erupting a submarine volcano in the Red Sea. The area in general is dancing a jig. Hopefully with only a moderate coronal hole on the disk, we will see no big quakes. HelioViewer is indeed a shutdown casualty, but you got the SDO page, ISWA, and Gong if you need them. Eyes open. No fear, it's 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
Alright, very good. Alright, so today I wanted to go back to the beginning of this video. I played a portion last week of Alex Collier, and I kind of cut it in the middle of the video where he was talking specifically about the Reptilians. But this is part of a full interview that he did, and I wanted to go back and I wanted to start at the beginning and play part of this for you, and then leave the video for you to check out on your own. But this is Alex Collier, so if you haven't heard of him, you don't know what he's all about, and you only caught the bits and pieces last week and found it interesting, well, this will give you the full introduction of who he is and why we are listening to what he has to say. Here we go. Alright, here we go. This is Alex Collier, UFO contactee with beings from the Andromeda Galaxy, interviewed by Rick Keefe. This is from October 1994. Human ETs from Andromeda. Here we go. There's a conflict over Earth and Earth humanity between an intergalactic ET alliance and an interdimensional race of ETs from Orion and Mars.
Alex, can you begin to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Well, my background is varied. I've done, like many other people, done a lot of different things. I've had accounting practices. I've owned commercial industrial businesses. Currently, what I'm trying to do is finish 3 books and lecturing across Southern California and the western states, trying to get out information that I agreed to put out regarding the Earth dilemma, the situation that we all face here. Unfortunately, and I apologize, I'm 2 years behind schedule. I was supposed to start lecturing 2 years prior to this. I've really been out since October of '93. It'll be almost a year. And that's currently what I'm trying to do. So a lot of my energy and focus has been going towards that.
Now, you're in contact with the Andromedans. Who exactly are the Andromedans?
They're a particular race that exists in the constellation of Andromeda. They're just one of thousands that exist out there. They are the particular races that I talk to and have had contact with and have given me and shared information with me are human. They're white-skinned to light blue-skinned, anywhere from 4 foot tall to 8 feet tall, and they are human in every way.
Now, where did they originate, Alex?
All human life originated in Lyra. And when Lyra fell during a war, long before one of the stars there exploded, they migrated out from Lyra during a war in order to preserve the race, and they went to different parts of our galaxy. So all human life originated from Lyra originally. Because of their environment, they will, from generation to generation, pick up physical changes depending upon the surface and the organics of their planets and so on and so forth. The different colored race skins have to do with genetics involving the stars in which that they're exposed to. So that's basically where they came from.
So their primary home star then is Lyra?
Yes.
And is that currently
Originally
still their home star?
No, there's no human life in Lyra.
So now where do they exist now?
In the constellation of Andromeda.
Okay. Throughout the constellation?
Yes.
Okay. They must be very plentiful then. There must be a great, vast civilization there.
Yes, there is. It's an ancient race.
Have they described what their civilization is like to you?
Yes, they have.
And could you go into
Sure.
some of the details that strike you the most about their civilization?
They're essentially, no matter where they are, they're a one-world government. Their society would be approximately 4,700 years more advanced than ours on a spiritual level. On a technological level, they're 50,000 years.
Now,
but there's a balance between their technology. In other words, the technology they create is based on a spiritual necessity to evolve and not on one to defend themselves, even though it can be used for that.
Now, when you say 4,700 years advanced spiritually,
yes,
how do you measure spiritual advancement in years?
I don't really know. That's what they've expressed to me.
I see.
And they don't even use time in their world. There's no such thing really. But they use those numbers to accommodate us so that we can use those as a point of reference.
I see. Okay. What do they call their world in their language?
They don't speak. Everything is a symbol there. The whole race is telepathic. And I want to back up just a little bit. There are 28 different races there. Not all are human. Many are dimensional, plasmic, organic, that were there before the human aspect of the Andromedans themselves, or the Lyrans got there and became Andromedans. There's a lot of life on the different dimensional levels that if we were to go to fifth density, we would be physical on fifth density, even though here we're on third density. Our perspective of them is being spirit. So, on each of the different dimensions, there is an abundance of life that is completely different than how we would perceive it. Because, our perception is of what third density is like. Even fourth density is very different, but we will have physical form in fourth density.
Now, is third density the lowest density, or are there others lower?
The animal and insect kingdoms would be, and planetary systems would be considered lower, but to be perfectly honest with you, I've not had a clear definition of that, because I haven't asked. My focus really has been us, and where do we go from here?
Right.
So
now, what is the main difference between the third density and the fourth density?
The real difference is consciousness. In fourth density, you can pretty much instantly create what it is that you think. Whatever your thoughts are, you manifest almost instantaneously. So there is a major degree of responsibility in dealing with that. Also in fourth density, we become more of a group mind. In fourth density, we're all telepathic. In other words, everybody can read each other's minds, which means you have to be real. You can't have hidden agendas because people will see right through you. Also in fourth density, we all become clairvoyants. We'll be able to see energy fields, see life forms, which means that if you're hiding something, it'll be seen instantaneously. They've also said that in fourth density, when we move into that, our court systems will change. There's still a positive and negative. That exists all the way to the fifth density, where you will experience to a strong degree the dualities in our everyday environments. What will happen is you'll have a judge and you'll have a jury who will all be clairvoyants, and they will read the energy field and know who's telling the truth and who isn't. And everything will be judged based on that, will be based on energy, not on words. When you, in fourth density, when you walk by somebody or you touch somebody's hand, you will instantly know everything about them. So again, there will be no hidden agendas. Everybody will really have to be real. And if they choose to have and continue to play out their agendas, whatever those are, then they will have the space. But you will know, or people will know, I will know who we're dealing with instantaneously.
What is there an economy, and what is the basis of their economy? Is it like a spiritual economy, or is it like the value? I've heard some people describe their views of other extraterrestrial civilizations as having a spiritual economy where the amount of psychic energy you put into something is given a value. Have they expressed any how their social systems work?
Okay, I know a little bit about that. Essentially, everybody is given exactly what it is they need to evolve. There are many different races. Each race has their own uniqueness about them based on their particular belief systems. And my understanding is that everything is a belief system. As far as the Andromedan culture, children go to school, or the Andromedans, they go through a birth process just like we do. Those that are physical, they go to school for anywhere from 120 to 150 years. They're taught all of the major sciences and arts. There would be equivalent to PhDs or doctorates or masters, whatever you want to call it, in all of the arts. It is at that point, once they're done with all of that education, that they choose what it is that they wish to do or to evolve. And they can change their mind anytime they want. The whole purpose is the evolution of the soul and life. They're given whatever it is that they need to do that. I'm not aware of crime or whatever, or anything along those lines. Their whole focus is on education and not distraction. If it's something that is not educational, from what I've observed, it's just simply something they're not interested in. They just have it within them to constantly evolve on an educational as well as a spiritual level. And whatever they need is there for them to use. I'm not aware of them having to pay anything for it. No. It's just, to my knowledge, it doesn't exist.
All right, so there you go. So I'm going to leave this to you. There's still a lot more. There's, well, it's an hour just for this piece. There's 2 parts, so a couple hours, well worth your time to watch. That's this piece here. UFO News is up next. Stay tuned.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today, 5 stories. Story number 1 takes us over Russia. Triangle-shaped UFO over Russia. Okay, let's look at this triangle, see what we have here. Don't have a date here, but there's our triangle right there. Either one particular craft or 3 individual ones, but looks like they're all connected. Okay, let's move on from there to the next one. This is over Limasoll, Cyprus. This was at the end of September 27th. New video footage of a bright UFO recorded in the sky over the city of Limasoll, Cyprus on the 27th. As I was walking around my neighborhood, I saw a strange light hovering in the sky, which also changed colors to green. At first I thought it was a plane, but as I got closer, this thing was quite big and hovering in the sky for about an hour and 5 minutes. Alright, there's our object in question. There's another one up there. Very interesting indeed. We've seen these before, haven't we? Alright. Next, daytime UFO caught with infrared camera. Object in question right there. Nice round orb using a modified security camera LG LCB5 100 and computer motorized zoom lens. Alright, says, as I've said before, there was nothing special about my location or anything in particular. I believe it will be the same in any other place. This channel was started with a hypothesis in mind. Sightings like this one are confirming that hypothesis. It's up to you to see with your own eyes and or your camera. So here's a whole breakdown of what the camera is. You can get a good idea of that if you're looking for some equipment. There you go, object in question. So these are captured all around the world. You don't have to be in any particular place. You just need to have the willingness to look, and that's what's happening, and henceforth videos from all around the world. Alright, from there we go over to Eblag, Poland. Mr. Jaroslaw sent 4 UFO pictures of the object to the local news website, info.eblag.pl. He says the light appeared in the sky west of town and could be seen very clearly. Jaroslaw said his father was the first to spot the object from his balcony while he was out smoking a cigarette in the town of Eblag. His father called him and told Jaroslaw about the strange light he was seeing, so he went out to look and find it, see if he could see the object himself. Alright, there's a nice good image of it there. And it says, yesterday I witnessed an interesting and mysterious phenomena in our skies. Evening after the 19th, received a phone call from my father who lives in Zwada. Father smoking cigarette on the balcony, spotted a strange glowing object. I decided and I see if the strange phenomena from my balcony, but located in a different part of town, actually on the horizon, pretty much hung up mysterious glowing object. Through the lightning, conditions were already very poor. I decided to photograph it. Okay, and this is the image that he got. Alright. Very good, very good. Moving on, one more piece. This has to do with Project Blue Book. Remember that project? Military project, United States Air Force, to determine if extraterrestrials are real, and then they determined that there wasn't any danger. It says Project Blue Book from 52 to 69 was one of a series of systematic studies of unidentified flying object conducted by the United States Air Force. It had two goals: to determine if UFOs were a threat to national security and to scientifically analyze UFO-related data. By the time Project Blue Book ended, it had collected 12,618 UFO reports. A small percentage of UFO reports were classified as unexplained, even after stringent analysis. The UFO reports were archived and are available under the Freedom of Information Act, but names and other personal information of all witnesses have been redacted. Every time I read something about Project Blue Book, what jumps to me is the open acknowledgement by the American government that UFOs are real. They never attempted to hide the fact that UFOs were in our skies. They just wanted to know where they came from, and in any typical government military fashion, if they posed a threat. I suspect that even if the government came out today and told the population of the world that UFOs are very much real, some people would see and touch. Some people would have to see and touch one before they believed it. All right, and what we have here is a series of videos on the subject. Okay. Histories of stuff here, and I'm going to leave these for you, talking all about these, but this very interesting Project Blue Book. And if you recall, they want to make sure, is there a threat? They determined there was no threat. So back when they disbanded in '69, it was determined there is no threat. Okay? So why are we being told and having to deal with concerns of a threat now? Because someone in the government decide they want to scare you a little bit more. Their war on terrorism. You're the victim that they're going to terrorize, but you're not supposed to know it's you. You're supposed to think it's somebody else. See, everybody thinks it's somebody else that's being terrorized, and they're right. It is somebody else. But eventually that somebody else is you in regards to somebody else. So it's all kind of a crazy thing, but you get the point. Smoke and mirror is a big trick to reel you in. It works. People get fooled all the time. That's UFO News. I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
All right. So, crazy world, right? So Obamacare is kicking in gear. I got to say, I feel bad a little bit. I feel a little sorry for so many of the Democrats that I met that were so convinced that this was free health care that they were going to get, because it really seemed that many that I spoke to really were very grateful that they were going to have an opportunity to get health care. It's unfortunate that they're not going to get the health care as free as they thought they were, because there is no free health care out there. Saw the other day they took the word free out of it. It's just a big ruse, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate people are getting fooled. I mean, when I went out there, I was at the Democratic convention, and one of the silly things was they were going to have President Obama speak outside at the stadium. I believe the stadium held 70,000 people. So they bust people in from states all around there, bust them in to bring them to that stadium. And when they got there, after they all had their long couple-hour journeys to get there, they got there expecting to see the president, but they didn't get to, because they announced earlier in the day that there was a storm coming in, and because of the storm that was coming in, they were going to have to cancel the event outside and move it inside. So all of those people that were bussed in expecting to see the president were let down and very disappointed when they didn't get to see him because the event was canceled. The unfortunate thing is there wasn't even any rain that occurred. Not at all. I was there. I kept filming the sky the entire day. Blue skies all day. And not a drop of rain that came down to threaten anything. It was a big joke, and all those people were let down and disappointed. I felt sorry for them then, and I feel sorry for them now, because so many are blindly believing that this administration is out to help them and be their friends. They're not. It's not, and I'm really getting... It's a kind of a bummer watching so many of you die-hard Obama fans, supporters. It's really a bummer watching you bummed out now. I mean, the part of "I told you so" just doesn't really have any value, because we're all in this together, and to see another human being, another person hurting because of their lack of information, and to see that people were fooled, that's, it's not right. So hopefully people are going to wake up from what's going on. So with all of this budget the closings and everything, I mean, yesterday you saw the big joke, right? Michelle Obama tweeting out that because of this, she can't keep tweeting anymore because of the government shutdown. Instantly, she was responded to by a number of her supporters who wanted to know why she couldn't keep tweeting. Was somebody, not working that was doing her tweets for her, or did she realize that Twitter was a free service that she didn't have to pay for? I don't know, but she needed to let her fake followers know, because just like the president, her husband, she has millions of fake followers as well. So apparently it was important to let the fake followers know, so at least they didn't argue and complain. It was only the real ones that, have anything to say. Okay, so yesterday in Washington, D.C., this was interesting. Group of World War II veterans in an honor flight group Tuesday knocked over barriers imposed during the government shutdown of the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. to get inside. As part of the federal government shutdown, national parks are closed, but the groups of veterans continued to the monument Tuesday, as reported by Stars and Stripes reporter Leo Shane. All right, here we go. Knocked down the barriers, and they just went on in. That's good. See, this is what should happen. All right. President Barack Obama doesn't know anything about the sacrifice that these men and women made for this country. How dare he go over there and shut down these memorials and these sites? It's very disgraceful what's happening, but I am glad to see more Americans are waking up to this. Even though Americans are waking up to this, especially a lot of Democrats realizing that they've been scammed and are in the process of being scammed, even though they're waking up that way, at least they're waking up and they're realizing that there's a problem they need to attend to, and they're angry. Rightly so. You've been lied to. This man that you said that was your president, that many of you said you needed to serve the president, that he was your savior. How about now? You think now he's doing you right? No, he's not. Screwing you over. Oath Keepers, check this out. Oath Keepers, the organization that goes around, makes sure people are following their oaths. Well, it's going operational by forming special civilian preservation teams. Oath Keepers is instructing its 30,000 members nationwide to form up special teams and sub-teams in each Oath Keeper chapter at the town and county level, modeled loosely on the Special Forces A-Team model, and for a similar purpose to be both potential operational unit for community security and support during crisis, but also as mission number 1 to serve as training and leadership cadre to assist in organizing neighborhood watches, organizing veterans halls to provide community civil defense, forming community sheriff posses, strengthening existing CERT, volunteer fire search and rescue, reserve deputy systems, etc., and eventually to assist in forming and training in town county militias. All right, we are basing this on a Special Forces model, which has a 12-man A-team of specially trained soldiers who are inserted into the community and train and lead the community resistance to oppressive regimes. All right, so it's a whole bit of information here. If you think you fit this, if you have that kind of expertise, contact Oath Keepers. Read about this. Go to oathkeepers.org. This is where people are stepping up to take action, and Oath Keepers been out there doing some good for a long while. So, excellent. All right. We haven't heard from Ron Paul. Haven't played any of his stuff in a while, so today that's going to change. This is Ron Paul and his Texas Straight Talk. Here we go.
Hello, this is Ron Paul with your weekly update for Monday, September 30th. As I write this, it appears that the federal government is about to shut down because the House and Senate cannot agree on whether to add language defunding or delaying Obamacare to the continuing resolution. Despite all the hand-wringing heard in D.C., a short-term government shutdown, which doesn't actually shut down the government, will not cause the country to collapse. And the American people would benefit if Obamacare was defeated or even delayed. Obamacare saddles the American health system with new spending and mandates which will raise the price and lower the quality of health care. Denying funds to this program may give Congress time to replace this bill with free market reforms that put patients and physicians back in charge of health care. Defunding the bill before it becomes implemented can spare the American people from falling under the worst effects of this law. As heartened as we should be by the fight against Obamacare, we should be equally disheartened by the fact that so few in D.C. are talking about making real cuts in federal spending. Even fewer are talking about reductions in the most logical place to reduce spending, the military-industrial complex. The U.S. military budget constitutes almost 50% of the total worldwide military spending. Yet to listen to some in Congress, one would think that America was one canceled multi-million-dollar helicopter contract away from being left totally defenseless. What makes this military spending impossible to justify is that it does not benefit the American people. Instead, by fomenting resentment and hatred among the world population, our costly interventionist foreign policy makes our people less safe. Thus, reducing spending on militarism would not only help balance the budget, but would enhance our security. Yet both the House and the Senate continuing resolutions not only fail to reduce military spending, they actually authorize $20 billion more in military spending than authorized by the sequestration created by the 2011 Budget Control Act. Most of the supposedly draconian sequestration cuts are not even cuts. Instead, they are reductions in the planned rate of spending. This is where Congress increases spending by less than originally planned, and yet they claim to cut spending. Under sequestration, military spending increases by 18% instead of 20% over the next 10 years. Yet some so-called conservatives are so opposed to these phony cuts in military spending that they would support increased taxes and increased welfare military spending. This grand bargain would benefit the D.C. political class and the special interests, but it would be a disaster for the American people. Instead of grand bargains of increased spending and taxes, those of us who support limited government and free markets should form a coalition with anti-war liberals to reduce spending on both the military-industrial complex and domestic welfare programs. Instead of raising taxes on the rich, we should also work to reduce all corporate subsidies. This grand bargain would truly be a win-win for the American people. Sadly, even if a congressional coalition to cut both welfare and warfare spending was formed, it would be unlikely to carry the day as long as the Federal Reserve is willing to enable Congress's debt addiction by monetizing the debt. But this cannot last forever. At some point, the Fed's policies will result in hyperinflation and an economic crisis that will force Congress to reduce spending. Hopefully, the growing number of Americans who are awakening to the dangers of our current path can convince Congress to reduce overseas militarism and an orderly drawdown of the welfare state before this crisis occurs. Thanks for calling this update. A new update is placed on this number, 888-322-1414, every Sunday. The written text can be found on my Free Foundation website at www.the-free-foundation.org and on my Facebook page. Thanks for listening.
All right, very good. So Dr. Paul's good advice as always. All right, so let's turn our attention now away from all of the nonsense of the political arena and what's going on, because things are going to keep happening. Life goes on, so we have to pay attention to other important things and what the silliness of the earth people are doing. Here is about Ison. Okay, a little update of what's going on.
October 1st, 2013. Guys, we're looking at one of the newer images from Ison, and these are ground-based from Dr. Bruce Gary in Arizona. And the Coma is still at 70,000 kilometers, but what they've detected is a front jet that's blowing away from the comet in the forward direction, and it is blowing away on the sun side. Now, those images, because he's teamed up with someone else and on the analysis, that they've done with it is heavily copyrighted. So what I'm going to do is just link you over to Dr. Gary's site. Normally his aren't, but I guess because of the teamwork, but you can see where they're heavily stamped on copyright. But I'm going to kind of give you a simulation of what they're seeing. And there's a forward jet being detected, and again, it's on its close approach to Mars. But on his website, they're showing some images that I haven't seen before that were from Hubble starting back in May. And it shows these forward jets. But again, though they're copyrighted, and that may be why we haven't seen them. It's a shame that Hubble's not showing us some of the things these other guys are getting. But again, they're pointing it out there, and you can see it more clearly. And we've watched something about on the inside of this comet, and they're saying there's a peculiar structure in that inner tail. Check the link out, guys, and come over, and some of you guys that stay on top of this, let me know what you think. Be safe.
All right, so there you go. So that's some of the latest that's going on. Obviously, the search and the discussion of Ison will continue on for some time. You know, while we're talking about things in the sky, you know, I'm out here in Southern California, and just shortly after sunset, I've been noticing for the last couple of months this object in the sky. It looks like it's like Venus or Saturn. It's very, very bright. I use the Google Sky to check it out, and it shows me that it's Venus or Saturn, but I certainly don't remember them being quite so bright. So if you happen to be noticing anything up in the sky about in the Southern California area about an hour after sunset, you know, just check it out in the western sky and see what you think. It's probably Saturn, it's probably Venus, but it's pretty darn bright. I tried taking a picture of it one day, and no matter how still I hold the camera, it just bounces all over the place. So I don't know what it is, but check it out. Maybe you might have some ideas and let me know. Alright, here is an interesting image, a gigantic number 9. And this was found on the ocean floor. This gigantic 9 is 3,281 feet long, drawn with a 197-foot wide pen, printed 26 feet down into the sediments, 820 feet below sea level in the Barents Sea. We have seen many lines and scribbles on the seabed. They were made when glaciers overturned during the last ice age. The icebergs have traveled with the ocean's currents, and parts of them have come in contact with the ocean floor, says Hein Hosendale of the Norwegian Mapping Authority at nrk.no. The bottom is soft, mostly contains fine-grained sediments, mainly gravel containing clay. As part of the mapping process, images of the seabed are captured by means of pulses from a surface vessel. Sound pulses are reflected from the bottom, and all measuring points are used to create a terrain model of the seabed. The huge 9 was discovered on the ocean floor northeast of the northern Norwegian city of Vasdo. We've got pictures of such scribblings. We found pretty clear drawing of a bird in the Norwegian Sea, but apart from that, the 9 is the most special since it's so clear, says Honsdale. The depressions that occurred around 10,000 years ago now play an important role in the Barents Sea. So very interesting, right? Very interesting. That's why I wanted to go back to this image here. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Alright, moving along. So the Book of Revelation, we've gone through all 22 chapters, and I wanted to do a summary review of what we've gone over. So what I have here is a couple links for you. First of all, we've got the link to our Book of Revelation that we've been going through. Alright, this was the particular one I wanted to stay consistent on, the one I was reading, King James Version. Alright, so we're going to go over here, and I've got 3 different links where you have study tools. The first one we've been looking at, BibleStudyTools.com, Revelation/Revelation. And what we have here is our outline. So, if we remember from our story, like any story, you introduce the characters. Okay? You introduce the characters, you introduce what they're there for, you kind of do this whole setup, and then there's the big battle, and then there's the final ending. I mean, this certainly follows along with a good storyline. Okay? So we've got right off the bat, we've got the 7 churches. And these are the ones who are being warned throughout the course of this. Because this represent where the churches, the Word of God has spread out, but how there has been corruption that is developed in each of these areas. Okay? Some more than others. And through this corruption, God has been displeased. And so God has decided that He was going to take care of all of these problems. And so here we have the characters that are going to come down and take care of these problems. And we've got all the writers here and what's going to happen. And basically, they come down, they use their magics or their gifts or whatever it is that they're supposed to do, and they come down and they bring these plagues down to the earth. Okay? They bring these plagues down to the earth. But one thing that we notice in the book of Revelation is there are times where it talks about everything was destroyed, and then kind of a passage later they're still talking about things, and you realize not everything's been destroyed. So some of it's kind of, you really have to use your discernment as you're reading through to see what is still in existence and what is not. Okay? And as we go through and we have all of these plagues, it's like we've seen, it's very much like the Exodus out of Egypt. Very much the same, right? We've got all the plagues that are going on here that occur. We've got the angels that are involved, just like the angel of death that oversaw everything. And then at the very end, what we have is Babylon's fall. Babylon is, in this case, Babylon is the whore that everyone fed off of. She was the one who poisoned the world with her ideas. So there's been many discussions about what is Babylon. Is Babylon the Vatican? Has the Vatican poisoned the world? Is Babylon Hollywood? Does Hollywood, through its movies and entertainments, poison the world? Is it the United States of America? Is it specifically the Washington, D.C.? Where it is, that is a big debate that is going on, where actually Babylon is. But we do see that many of these characters, certainly the Antichrist characters, the beast characters, many of these characters are all portrayed. We see them in the world we live in to this day. Now, one thing about the book of Revelation, let me take you over here. There's another study guide also. This one here is different. This is ChristianBibleReference.org. And it gets in, purpose was written as a letter to be circulated amongst the Christian churches, the 7 important cities in Asia Minor. Right? Revelation seems bizarre and incomprehensible, but understanding the apocalyptic genre, the history of the early Christians, the persecutions they faced, their fears, and the issues they debated makes it much clearer. Many of the images and symbols parallel those in the Old Testament books, such as Daniel. Others allude to people, places, and events that were very familiar to the very first Christians of Asia Minor. Extensive research in these areas have given biblical scholars a good understanding of what John's visions were intended to mean. Okay, and it goes on to say different shades of interpretation are possible, and there is still considerable debate as to the meaning of some of the symbols and images. Well, it did mention here this is apocalyptic genre. Okay, so that is a very important thing to understand, the apocalyptic genre, because as we know, with something of this nature, it can apply to a lot of different time periods, and that's one of the things that seems to define this genre, that you write something that different generations can read and feel that it applies exactly to them, because each generation has within it these seeds of corruption that either get snuffed out or are allowed to grow and become something. And so as we go through these processes, so many of what is described in the book of Revelation are things that can be discussed on a psychological level. The symbology that is used is a lot of symbology that we see in the tarot or we see in astrology. It's the same type of symbols and characters which we've come to understand don't mean anything in themselves other than they're just representations of energy. So we see that these cycles and these stories and these characters are used over and over and over again. And in this apocalyptic type writing, we could look at our time frame and say it applies to us right now, even though it may have applied to another time frame in the past, as many biblical scholars think that a lot of these events did. But there's one thing that makes this Bible, this book of Revelation, unique, and that is the promise of the future. Because it's not a story that just ends and doesn't give any hope or idea of what's up in the future. This is a story that talks about a future moment, okay? If the stories in the Bible just kind of came to an end and it was all over and done with, we would think of it as history. We wouldn't think of it as something that was a living, breathing text that was still playing itself out. We would have a different interpretation. But because we look at the book of Revelation, and because of the apocalyptic style, we're able to consider that this is something that is happening in our world. The events and the words in there are very real, because it talks to us about what is going on and what we can do to move through these times. And so as we understand this, it gives us the hope that we can make some changes. So no matter how bad the civilization gets, here's a program for how we could get back to where we need to be. And in this case, the promise is just to get back to God, to get back to Jesus Christ, to understand their role in this world as teacher, as savior, as creator. And as we get back to the true nature of what we're about and the true nature of understanding God, we bring ourselves back in to correct alignment with ourselves, with our chakra system, with everything about who we are. We realign our energy, because otherwise what we have is energy that is out of alignment with itself, which is why there is all these problems and these challenges that go on. So as we read through the books and the stories, we see a lot of misalignment, a lot of anger, a lot of fighting, things that aren't aligned in harmony. But when things are put back in harmony, everything works out good. So the very last piece here, along with this is a downloadable item. It's a PDF, and this is a really good summary of the book of Revelation. It goes through all 22 chapters, and it gets into asking questions about each chapter. Let me just skip down here a little bit so I can show you. Alright, see, the purpose of the book is to purpose is clearly stated, to reveal things which must shortly come to pass. Okay, that's the secret to the book of Revelation here. And of course the outline that we've seen, and then it gets down in here to the first passage. And what it goes into is a bunch of review questions at the end of each section. Alright, here we go. So we got chapter 1. So the revelation of Jesus Christ begins with a clear statement and origin of purpose given to Jesus by God to show his servants which must come to take place. And then you have points to ponder with each section, series of questions come up to really consider. Okay, and it goes on and on. So this link is available for you to download. But the book of Revelation, we could certainly go on and on about what it is and so on, and really get into dissecting each and every symbol. But I don't really think that's necessary. I think that the basic understanding is the promise of us joining with God, the promise of us stepping away from all of the corruption. That is the biggest story that the book of Revelation, the biggest meaning it has to me, because throughout the piece you hear these stories about wars and the rumors of wars and all the stuff going on, and it continually talks about those who are going to be punished, those who are being thrown into the lake of fire, and there's always a distinction that is being made, it seems, between those who are the righteous, the elect, versus those that are the wicked and the ungodly, and the ones who continuously we're told that are continuously throughout the book that are being judged. Well, everyone's being judged, but the ones who are really in trouble are those who are making war with God, because God knows that there are many down here that serve God, that are part of that kingdom, that understand what's going on, but there are many that aren't, and they're part of this big major industrial complex that we have going on that has the fingerprint of the Antichrist upon it, and that is working with the energies of the beast. I mean, the whole story is there. It's outlined. We can see it. Okay? So, Book of Revelation, promise is resurrection. The promise is the reunion with God. That's what it's all about to me. So, the whole summary all comes together that we just got to trust God, understand something's unfolding, understanding that this storyline has been telling itself over and over and over again, which is why in this particular style of writing, this apocalyptic style, we can look at this and say it applies now, because humanity evolves in a similar process. We go through our ups and we go through our downs. We make our mistakes, we get back up, we brush ourselves off, we keep going again. We forgive, we forget, we love, we are loved. We go through the same old process over and over. Okay, so there you have it. That's the Book of Revelation, promise of reunion with the great Creator. And that is what the book is all about. Perfect way to end the whole Bible. That in the end, it's all going to work out, and that this is a living, breathing text that is still playing itself out. All right, here's Archangeloi of the Elohim message for September 28th. Here we go.
Archangeloi of the Elohim,
releasing the anchors of the old 3D Earth and Truth.
September 28, 2013, by Karen Doonan.
Greetings, beloved ones. We are the Archangeloi of the Elohim, and we come to guide and to support all as the mass movement of all within the universe of 3 gets underway. For it is not only the human race that are now expanding and shifting and growing, it is all within the universe of 3 in truth. Mother Earth now expands her energetic signature, ready for all that will now unfold across and within planet Earth at this moment. The heightening of energies can be felt by all, but many are filtering these out, still believing that somehow all is the same and nothing is happening. Beloved ones, you are the creators of this, your reality in this dimensional space within the universe of 3. You wait on you. Do you understand our guidance, beloved ones? All souls are now stepping into place in order to guide the human vehicle that is incarnate upon and within planet Earth, but not all human vehicles are allowing the upgrading of their human vehicle. We guide for clarity that upgrading to the human vehicle is necessary. We ask all to honor the requirements of your human vehicle. The old 3D Earth taught heavily about controlling the human vehicle. Much of 3D Earth reality based on controlling the weight and sustenance of the human vehicle, and we ask for you to understand the reasons for this. The human vehicle was designed to be self-healing, designed to be self-propelling, designed to work perfectly. It is the interface between the planet Earth and your soul, and the old 3D Earth knew this and began to create ways to interfere with this. Hence you have the 3D Earth control paradigms around nutrition and health. The master of health of your own human vehicle, beloved ones, is you. At this time during the transition process, the human vehicle is being upgraded with light coatings. These work to reset the human vehicle back to its original form at cellular level. Many are filtering this out and falling to the teachings of distortion that state that the human vehicle must be kept under tight control. This is not truth and is not supported under the new earth energies. As the vibration of the human vehicle rises, then the need for fuel for said human vehicle begins to alter, and this may trigger the teachings that have been ingested in relation to nutrition and health. We guide for all to trust and have faith in the process that is now underway. By listening to your human vehicle and honoring its need, you bring it back into balance. It is not possible to achieve balance without the human vehicle being balanced, for it is needed to enter the new earth in truth. Do you understand our guidance, beloved ones? This is not only about aligning with your soul and the energy that you are in truth. This is also about the human vehicle, for it is needed to house the energy that you are in truth. Many are holding tightly on to all that has been taught in defiance of the changes that are now unfolding across and within planet Earth, and we ask why. That which is in place upon planet Earth does not serve humanity. It was used to control and suppress humanity, and yet humanity holds on, allowing the human logical brain to teach that there is only one way to live, and this is not truth, beloved ones, and is not supported under the new earth in truth. As the energies begin to rise once more, frustration will begin to set in as a need for control is unleashed that in essence is you fighting with you. Do you understand our guidance, beloved ones? For in truth you are the only one here. As the new earth now begins to anchor in truth, then the anchors from the old earth will begin to crumble and fall. Again, many are looking outside of self for proof of our guidance, and we guide strongly that only the changes that are made from within can be seen on the outside. For again, beloved ones, you are the only one here. Do you resonate with our words? The outside reflection of humanity is merely the mirror to the inside of your life experience here upon the planet Earth. All are mirrors to the inner at all times. The old earth taught about mirrors but taught you to mirror to the external. In essence, you stand in a house of mirrors, unaware that the reflection is you, beloved ones. We will guide more in due course. For the moment we wish to send out more codings to the children of planet Earth, and we send out the codings of 345 and 456. We place a white dove at the third eye, and we ask for all to inhale the frequencies of the color that is known to the human vehicle as gold. For gold is the new frequency that will allow for the changes to anchor fully within the human race. The codings are asked to be placed in the heart space, for they will unlock further levels of self and allow more knowledge from soul level to filter through to waking human conscious mind level. You are asked to breathe and be, beloved ones, for the changes will now accelerate, for the energetic signature of Mother Earth is now increasing and expanding in truth. All are one and you are. Be in peace, beloved ones. We are the Archangel of the Elohim, and we walk with you always.
Alrighty. And the angel message for today is: honor your inner guidance and know that prosperity is coming to you now. Okay, honor your inner guidance, know that prosperity is coming to you now. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Alright, that takes us to our meditation for today. So let us get ready for that. And I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. Alright, let's imagine that we are activating all of our chakras, starting with the chakra at the bottom of the spine. Imagine the color red. Imagine drawing the energy from the earth into the chakra, and then the energy moves up higher from that chakra to the chakra above it, right at the belly button, and imagine the color orange. And then the energy continues to raise up higher to the chakra above it, just below the rib cage. Imagine the color yellow. And there, the energy continues moving up to the chakra above it, at the heart. And imagine the color green. Then the light continues on higher up to the next chakra, which is at the throat. Imagine the color blue. And the light continues on up to the next chakra between the two eyes. The third eye, imagine the color indigo. And the light continues on up to the top of the head, to the crown chakra. And imagine the color violet. And then the light continues on up into the cosmos, turning white light as it continues on. And there you are, filled with all of this light flowing through you from above and from below. From all around, this energy flows to you. Feel the multicolored energy as it flows through your body. Imagine it overflowing and expanding out into your room, filling your room with light. Imagine that light strengthening the walls and the floor and the ceilings in the place where you live. Send that light out further to the entire home or apartment or place of residence, and see that same light going and filling that space and providing structure to it, added support. And see that light continuing on into your city and out into the whole world, providing support for the world, protection. And know that all the others are doing the same thing. This protection is multiplied over and over and over again. Now I want you to imagine, as you look out into the world, you see this golden colored light. This golden colored light of change that is upon us. And I want you to imagine taking a deep breath and inhaling this golden colored light into your being. Inhale this in and just feel this light fill your entire being. Feel the light, this golden colored light, as it makes its way to each one of the chakras, where that golden colored light mixes with the chakra color that's already there. Imagine this golden color settling in the heart, this place of love. Take another deep breath and let that golden color light just flow throughout the entire body, filling the body with this frequency of change that is upon us. And let's just think of love. Let's think of love and just imagine sending love out into the world, knowing that no matter how many problems or challenges we face, with love we can get past all of them. For love is a great strength and can be used as a great weapon if we need to protect ourselves from all that would mean harm to us. So send out love into the world and watch others around transformed by this love. Either they will be strengthened by this, or they will be destroyed by it. But either way, love will change them one way or the other. So just send out love, my friends. It's not yours to decide how they respond to it, but just to send it out. Free it up. So keep sending love out. Let the subconscious mind continue on that journey of sending out love, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's our show for today. Thank you very much for being here. Just keep thinking good thoughts in the world. There's a lot of challenges going on, but we can get through them all. We have to support each other. During this time of the shutdown of the government, this is our time for us to really understand that we don't need to have all of their overbearingness in our lives, and that we can get along just fine without them trying to put those pressure on us. So maybe through this process they'll realize the importance of the people and might make some changes themselves. We're just going to be hopeful of that. We're going to keep sending love and light into the world to assist these change, and know that the promise of good is on its way. Just keep holding that promise in your heart, my friends. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Follow the links, firstcontactradio.com, and watch the rest of the videos. Read more of the articles, and so on and so forth. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day. Peace. I'm out of here.